You know, just from the thumbnail, this poor dude definitely looks like a loser. Okay, so we got some more MrBallen. Wait, is my face in the right place? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You're here more for the content, not so much me. So whatever. Anyway, okay, so not exactly sure how this is gonna work out with this title and everything. I mean, it says time traveler is a killer and has receipts. So is this like someone who thinks they're a time traveler and they're a killer or something? Is it like one of those fantastical delusional people? Because that's what this is looking like so far. But hey, that's my best guess. Fantastical delusional person, probably a loser of some kind. Weak, sympathetic, and pathetic is what it might be. Usually those types of people are those kind. My guess is that it has to do with the thumbnail, and they seem like all the stuff I just said. And that's what goes down this spiral. So what time mark is it going to be? Like 1 minute? Or no, a few minutes, like a couple minutes into it. Whatever. Timestamp this. Put your own guesses in the comments down below. Okay, if you have not already seen the video. I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it yet, okay? Otherwise, it wouldn't be much of a reaction, would it? So yeah, put your guesses or educated estimations in the comments down below. That being said, let's go. Take it away, MrBallen.
In our lives, all of us have to make really difficult decisions from time to time. In our lives, all of us have to make really difficult decisions from time to time. Sometimes we make the right call, and other times we don't. Today's story is about someone who did the latter, but really, the story is about what this person did to try to fix their bad decision. Simply put, this story takes a totally unexpected turn, and unless you've heard it before, there's no way you're gonna see it coming. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you, please move all of the strike plates in the like button's door frames slightly lower so that anytime they try to close the door, they won't latch. Also,
A lot of people are not even going to know what a strike plates are. Oh, so many funny stories of me as a homeless hobo because of divorces. Yeah, just don't get married in the West. Just do. If you're a young man, you better not get married in the West. Do not do it. Not worth it at all. No matter, I don't care who she is. If she's a Western woman, don't marry her. Just don't. Anyway, besides that, if you know what those are, okay, then give me wrong answers in the comments down below. Give me wrong answers, man. Anyway, let's go.
please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads.
I love MrBallen's intro. However, unfortunately, because YouTube is, well, YouTube, I gotta skip it. Sad face. Super sad face. Because I love MrBallen's intro. I love it. But unfortunately, we gotta, yeah, let's go. Let's get it over with. Daydreamers. Oh no. Oh no. I might be right. I might be right. I could be right. Let's go.
On a cold day in January of 2017, a 26-year-old man named William Hargrove paced anxiously back and forth inside of his tiny bedroom.
Oh no. This guy looks like one. I'm sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry. You look like one. He so does. He does. Tell me he doesn't. Tell me he doesn't. Tell me. But he seriously does. He looks like, the only thing he really does at all attempts to keep something clean is is this. Okay, that looks like all he kind of sort of takes care of, kind of. Probably overweight and obese or something. Probably has some kind of depressive disorder or something like that. He's probably sympathetic in some way, pathetic in another way. Probably. I'm throwing out all my guesses as early as I can, so I've got no excuse later in the video. But yeah, let me lay it out for you. Either lives with like his parents or something, right? Not because he wants to. There's a difference between living with your parents because you want to take care of your parents. That's something people do. Just saying. Just saying. You can't use it as a blanket thing anymore. Or at least you shouldn't. But yeah. Or someone who is just unable or incapable or too incompetent to make their way through reality on their own merit. Probably was raised by a single mother, most likely. Most of these types are. The overwhelming majority of them are. Or maybe lives in like somebody's basement or attic or freaking an extra bedroom or something. I'm throwing out guesses right now. And probably has like some kind of fantasy. Well, it said daydreamer. So some type of fantasy delusional state, most likely, right? Usually those who refuse to accept reality, they live in they create this like delusion for themselves, right? And they have this illusion they drape over reality so that they don't have to accept it. And so that they don't have to take accountability and responsibility for themselves, right? Delusional, which we know what that means. We know what that means. So yeah, me quite usually I'll call them like lost boys, right? Because they are lost, and they're man children. They're man children. They can't pick up after themselves. They can't keep nothing clean. They don't know how to organize. They're stuck in like, the 8th or 7th grade where their mama was picking up after them and, they could do no harm. Or they got those habits from their mama. Because more often than not, they're single mothers that raise these types. Or at least this is my guess. I could easily be wrong. But you know what? I really want to be wrong. I really want to. I want this guy to be a wonderful person and to be awesome and all that kind of stuff, right? Because we all have that potential. We all have that potential. We all have that capability or capacity within us. We all do. It's up to our individual decisions and actions, irrespective of environment. That is what actually makes us. You can't blame yourself on no one else. You really cannot. Any schmoozle, let's go. I think I've thrown everything out there that I could probably guess. But I'm just saying, this guy seems immediately off the cuff like a loser, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of losers out there. And I've been one a couple times myself. Difference, though, is that I don't stay one. That's a big difference. Anyway, let's go.
Will was nervous because he was about to take the biggest chance of his life. He was about to ask a woman, who he had only known for a few weeks, if she would marry him. Will looked around his bedroom and he saw there was dirty clothes coming out of his hamper and there was fast food trash all over the ground, and so he knew this was not the ideal location to ask someone to marry him, but he also knew he was running out of time. The woman he wanted to propose to, who was sitting right behind him on his bed, was about to head back to Russia, where she lived, in just a few hours.
He's got a woman to propose to? Well, I mean, then again, different strokes for different folks, I guess. Anyway. However, yeah, you know what? It shouldn't be surprising, right? It really shouldn't be surprising. I mean, if I can have a roster, and I didn't even ask for it, this guy's got a shot, I guess. So, yeah. Hey, I'm just saying, I am a two-time divorce champ. Two-time divorce champ. And I say that because I learned my lesson. All right. So okay, he's got somebody he can propose to. Then again, it really shouldn't surprise me. It really shouldn't, because there's definitely enough to go around. It's just for some people, it's a lot less. Anyway, what are y'all's thoughts? If you couldn't tell, I do my old man rambling. Or maybe it's too many blows to the head. I don't know. Too many IEDs or something like that. Anyway, let's keep going. But yeah, it shouldn't surprise me, but it still kind of did. And the description of the environment, the living space, being a trash hole. It's like, how can people live like... Even when I was homeless, I kept my space clean and neat and orderly and organized. And then when I later lived in a car, I did the same thing. I wasn't a freaking untidy, unkempt mess. I still made it work. No excuses. Make your bed, clean your room.
And so Will finally stopped pacing. He turned to face this woman on the bed, who was just sitting there silently, and Will was about to say something, but then he chickened out and just kept on pacing. To that point, Will's life had been pretty boring and lonely. He worked a low-paying job as a mechanic, and he lived in this bedroom. This was his apartment, this one room, which was being rented to him by a married couple who owned the house it was in. And this house was in a small city in the U.S. state of Oregon.
Oregon. Ugh. Never going back there ever again. To hell with that. Or Washington. Actually, to hell with the entire left coast. To hell with it entirely. I'm originally from LA. And not just any place in LA. South Central LA. Where mixed kids catch it from everybody. El sangre sucio. That's what they used to call me. Anyway, but yeah, just, did I call it or what? So far I've been right, except for the woman part. Except for the fiance, girlfriend, whatever she might end up being, part. Which, on one hand, it's kind of sweet that a woman would want a man who's at his absolute lowest, right? This guy's in a rut. He's absolutely in a rut. You can't tell me otherwise. How do I know? 'Cause I've been there. Not once. Twice. For periods of time. And I still had to work. Still had to, pay bills and debt. Oh. Still had to do all my military duties. And fool everyone so they didn't take away my extra pay, so I could actually pay off like all the debts that were given to me due to court, which was a whole load of garbage. Freaking gynocentric. Anyway. Sweet girl is what it sounds like immediately from the fact she's with a guy whose house is he He can't even lead. I bet you anything. He can't even lead. I bet you anything, right? He's just not a man. Well, okay, he's male, but he's not a man. But he's in a rut, and she's accepting him as is. So I'm guessing they probably want the same things. Or they want the same, like, main big things is my guess. Otherwise I can't see any other way with this happening. But anyway, I'm gonna try to stop rambling from now on. I'll try. Okay. Try. Keyword. I'll try. Let's go.
Will didn't really have any friends, and he didn't really have any meaningful hobbies. All he really had was his intense love of science fiction and fantasy. He would lose himself for hours watching movies about outer space and strange, distant alien planets and magic, and then often, after he would watch these movies, he would walk into the forest near his house, and he would just kind of wander around daydreaming about these movies, and he would pretend he was the hero from these movies. And suddenly, in his mind, Will would become a sorcerer with great powers, or a brilliant scientist who went back in time to save the world. But as much
So he is a man-child. God damn it. Damn it. I was hoping for something better. I was hoping for him to at least have something going, anything going for him. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. It really is. So frustrating. Or maybe it's because I'm, like, biased and I want him to be, a man. I'm bald too, okay? Although I'm not as chubby as him, or as unkempt. Damn it. Grr. It's so frustrating, You can't be everyone's dad. Much as you want to. Much as I would love to do that. If that was like a job to, like, be someone's dad, right? Who had authority and all that kind of stuff and position to, like, be it looking at somebody and be like, hey, you're screwing up. Let's fix it now. Bub, sign me up, Chief. Sign me up. I loved being a leader. Loved it. Anyway, but yeah, me, I enjoy all those things too. I'm a huge, giant nerd. Okay, I'm an old school nerd. Back when Dungeons and Dragons, you still had to, like, kind of make your own stuff. And back when there was the original, like, White Dwarfs for Warhammer, right? First edition. Battle Droids, which later became Battle Tech. Really awesome stuff. All the stuff from Wizards of the Coast forever. And ever and ever and ever. Don't care. Warhammer Fantasy. Bah. Them were good times. Man. I'm into all that stuff too. Comic books. Everything. Right? I'm down deep and dived into it. I love it all. Magic the Gathering. Awesome freaking card series. Even though they've done some dumb stuff recently, but who cares? We still play with the old rules. We don't care what they do new in the new ways. We don't care. Anyway. I love all that stuff too. But I'm not in a fantasy delusion. Right? It's a game. It's entertainment. Right? It's a hobby, a side thing. Sure, I like it, love it a lot. I enjoy it greatly. But that's just what it is. Something I add to my life that is already existing. It's not my core being, existence, identity, and everything. Right? There's a difference between nerds. Okay? There's a difference between us and losers who enjoy the same things we do. There's a big difference there. There really is. But people seem to completely equate the two as the same thing, which is not at all true. Anyway, let's keep going. I said I'd try to stop rambling, but this part really got to, man, just giving nerds a bad name. Let's go.
Much as Will loved daydreaming and fantasizing, what he really wanted was a wife and kids. And so recently, he had joined an international dating website, and it was through that website that he connected with 26-year-old Anna Repkina from Russia, who was the woman sitting on the bed behind him. And now, if Will could just muster the courage to pop the question to her, he was confident she would say yes, and he could finally start his real life with Anna. Anna, who had blonde hair and striking blue eyes, was a bit of a dreamer like Will. For
this poor woman. This poor sweetheart of a woman. And she's from a foreign country. This poor, sweet foreign woman. You know, a huge amount of like foreign women are like, you know, gems. They're like gems. They honestly are. Right? The average foreign woman is pretty close to her from what she sounds like, right? Hell, it's exemplified through the fact that she's willing to get with a loser like this dude. Okay? That's exemplified through that fact. Unfortunately, though, I'm very strongly of the sinking suspicion she's with the wrong dude. Unfortunately. No, this can't... Oh, it says County Sheriff's Office picture. No. Oh, no, this can't be good. This cannot be good. This poor woman. God damn it. I have a horrible feeling now. I got that twisting of the guts. No. Young men, don't be freaking losers. Understand me? Be real men. It's not even that hard. Okay, sure. It's kind of hard, but whatever. I have a horrible sinking suspicion, but I'm not gonna say not much more. Except I have a horrific feeling here. This poor gem of a woman is with a loser. And probably one of the worst types of losers. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments down below at this timestamp. We're not even 5 minutes into the video, and I've been ranting so freaking much. Brother. Okay, I'm going to have to chop this video into pieces. That's what I'm going to have to do. Oh, man, that's so much work, though. I don't want to... I hate editing. I hate it so much. Anyway. Young men, don't be freaking losers. Understand you me. And young foreign ladies, okay? This dude who's being talked about in this story is the example of the kind of dude not even to look twice at, okay? And for good reason. You want a man who's got all of his stuff together, right? Who's decisive, knows how to lead, knows what he wants and where he's going, or at least is working towards something, has goals and objectives. Don't get with some guy like whom she's with. Oh, brother. Okay, I'm going to try to stop ranting. It might be quiet for a while from me. I'm going to try. Keyword, try.
For example, she fundamentally believed that there was a soulmate somewhere in the world for everyone. However, to that point in her life, she had not found her soulmate. Instead, she had been through one bad breakup after another. But a few weeks earlier, when a short, stocky, bald guy with a bushy goatee Will had reached out to her on an international dating website and invited her to America to visit him. She believed it was fate that they were being brought together, and so Will had to be her soulmate. Will finally stopped pacing and turned again to face Anna, who was now reading a book on the edge of the bed. And Will, who was terrified at this point, took a deep breath and then reached into his pocket and pulled out a jewelry box. Inside of it was a beautiful emerald ring that was situated on a white gold band. And so Will took a step towards Anna, he dropped down to a knee, and he held out the jewelry box and he opened it up. At first, Anna didn't know what Will was doing and was kind of confused, but when she saw the ring and saw him on his knee, she knew what was happening, and she began trembling with excitement. And then Will, he pulled the ring out of its holder and he slipped it onto Anna's finger, and he asked her if she would marry him. And Anna, she began crying tears of joy and shouted, yes. Later that day, Anna would fly back home to Russia, but as soon as she landed, she began getting her affairs in order to go right back to Oregon to live with Will permanently.
See, this is one of the traditions I would not mind having come back, is having the freaking parents filter people. With my kids, I'm going to be a tyrant. Absolutely. There's way too many losers out there, and kids don't know who the hell they're getting in with. They don't know. Hell, your frontal lobe isn't even really developed until you're like, what is it, 25 through 28 or 27? You got no idea. Like hell, I'm going to let my kids just randomly date anybody and everybody. Hell no. Nuh-uh, son. Not in my house. Especially like helping them learn from my experience, right? Lord knows I learned my lessons hard, super stupid hard. That's one tradition I would not mind seeing come back. However, we gotta restart, right? Because unfortunately, vast majority of parents nowadays are absolute crap. Either they're not together, or they're selfish and narcissistic and treat their kids like they're accessories to their lives instead of the other way around. And they can't wait for their kids to be out of the house, right? And either that or they're just single moms. And look at the current few generations and what's going on societally and political, all this kind of garbo. So yeah, that's something I would not mind having come back. But you got to have good people get together to have children. Oh, man. I said I wouldn't rant, but damn it, this makes it so hard.
And 2 months later, in March of 2017, Anna was touching back down at the Oregon airport, and then right near the baggage claim, she had her big reunion with Will. That evening, when Anna and Will drove from the airport to Will's place, they parked the car, they got out, they grabbed Anna's luggage, they went up the front steps, and when Will unlocked the front door to go inside of the house to make their way up to his bedroom apartment, as soon as the door swung open, there was a woman standing in the doorway with her arms crossed, staring out at both of them. This woman was 34-year-old Michelle Chavez, and
Let me guess. She's like the landlady or something. Or she's like an ex-girlfriend. Maybe he's late on rent or something and they're about to get booted. Oh, God, that would suck. You know what? But that would not surprise... The dude's a loser. It wouldn't surprise me. Unfortunately, man... A la madre de Dios. Chingados, güey. Muévete.
And she and her husband were the married couple who rented the bedroom apartment to Will. Michelle had dark hair and piercing eyes, and even when she was being pleasant, she could be very intimidating. And right now, it was obvious she was not trying to be pleasant. And so Anna, who sensed something was wrong here, kind of awkwardly said hi to Michelle. But Michelle, she just glared at Anna and said nothing, and then looked from Anna to Will and said, "Will, I need to talk to you." And then before Will could say anything, Michelle grabbed his arm and began dragging him through the house to the back. And as Will is kind of stumbling along after Michelle, he tried to be calm and told Anna, "Just go ahead and take your stuff up to the room. I'll be up there in a minute." And so Anna, she's very confused about what's happening here. She does not understand this dynamic at all, but she began taking her suitcases and marching over to the side of the house where Will's bedroom was. And as she did this, she could hear on the other side of the house, Michelle really yelling at Will.
No, no, no. I'm going to be mad as hell if it turns out old dude was for the most part, a woman ain't just going to rock up to you and just grab you, for the most part. So that tells me one of two things, or two things. They're familiar beyond landlord or landlady and tenant and housemates or roommates or whatever. Because she straight up grabbed them like an angry girlfriend and dragged him somewhere else. Oh no, what is Anna's poor soul getting into here? No. I said I'd try to stop rambling, but I just can't help it with this. I really can't help it.
But Anna couldn't make out what Michelle was actually saying. And so at some point, when Anna was now inside of Will's bedroom, just kind of waiting, Will finally did come into the bedroom with his head hung down low, and Anna could just tell that, obviously he's just been yelled at, he looks defeated, and so Anna's trying to make eye contact with him, and finally, Will looks up at Anna, and Anna says, "Hey, what's going on? Why was she so upset? What's happening here?" And in a quiet, trembling voice, Will would tell Anna that Michelle and her husband had just told him that they can't live here anymore. They have to move out. Anna couldn't believe this. She had just flown across the world to be here with Will, and now they don't have a place to live. But she could tell, obviously, Will is really upset about this too. And so instead of just being mad at him, she said, "What's going on? Why is she kicking us out?"
She was definitely a wife. Most certainly a wife. Let me fix myself real quick. Let me fix myself real fast, because I know that this getting on the screen is probably annoying some people. So let me fix that real quick. Although MrBallen loves to lean one direction. All right, let's go. Let's go. I fixed it, I think. Let me know which one you prefer, or do you even care? Let me know in the comments.
And at first, Will kind of acted like he didn't really know, but then eventually, when Anna kept asking for more information, he would tell her that Michelle sort of had a crush on him, and when she saw Anna moving in with Will, she became really jealous and told them to leave. When Anna brought up,
"That's a lot more than a crush, my boy. You a goddamn liar." That's what I say.
the fact that Michelle was married, Will said, I know, she's married, the crush hasn't gone anywhere, but she still feels really jealous. Anna was obviously really upset about this situation, but after Will had explained what's going on with Michelle, Anna wasn't mad at Michelle, she actually felt kind of bad for her. It was sort of pathetic that this married woman was acting the way she was. And so Anna actually figured that really this is probably for the best, that we should get away from Michelle. And within a few days, Anna and Will had moved out of Michelle's place and found a place of their own in a neighboring town. And as soon as they were settled inside of there, it was like relief washed over both of them. And they both became really excited to plan their wedding and think about their future together.
Man, Anna looks so damn happy. I'm being called to my fatherly duties to help my boy. Give me a schmeckle. And I am back. But yeah, like I said, she looks happy. She looks happy. Man, and she looks genuine, right? She seems genuinely happy. And he seems like he's happy too. So now we just need to figure out what went wrong. Or maybe something was always wrong with Mr. Loserface right here. Mr. Living in my own fantasy in my head because I can't handle reality, Loserface right here. Right?
Thank you to BetterHelp.
Unfortunately, I can't run his ads. I'd love to because he's really good at them, but I can't. YouTube won't let me. So y'all can curse out YouTube. Don't curse me out. It's not my fault. But anyway, he's going to do an ad for BetterHelp. It's a subscription psychological counseling service. Okay. I've known a few guys who have used them, and they're very convenient. They're very good. So, yeah. And I do highly encourage anyone and everyone, if they even think that you're having a struggle, definitely reach out. All right, let's...
First,
gotta fast this forward. Where's his link for the people? Okay, there's his link. Get... Ow, I'm so freaking sore. Oh. All right, there's the link. I can't play his ad for some reason. Otherwise, YouTube makes me redo videos like a million freaking times. Anyway, there we go. Link for this original video is going to be in the description box down below. So, yeah, let's continue.
.com/MrBallen. I've also linked them in the description below. Okay, back to the story. A few weeks later, on March 25th, 2017, Anna woke up early and put on her beautiful, simple white wedding dress that she brought from Russia, and then she and Will piled into his car and they headed to the beach. The couple had decided...
This poor sweet girl. This poor sweet girl. And she ain't no average run-of-the-mill, plastic diamond Westerner girl, right? She's a foreign gem. All right? She sounds like a real one, like a real wife. Real wifey material, like they say nowadays. This poor woman. All right, let's go.
Decided to go with a very simple, intimate outdoor wedding ceremony led by an officiant. An officiant is someone who can legally conduct a wedding. When the couple arrived at the beach, Anna hopped out and immediately began walking over the sand towards the water, and Will stayed back to call the officiant because he didn't see him anywhere. And so when Anna reached the water, she took in the beautiful sights and sounds of the beach. She felt the sun on her face and she listened to the sound of the waves crashing. And it was like suddenly she realized how lucky she was. I mean, this wedding day was turning out to be perfect when over the past couple of weeks, she wasn't sure if it was even going to happen. Even though Anna and Will had left Michelle's house and had no contact with her, over the past couple of weeks, Michelle had become a sort of thorn in their side, sending Anna all these really threatening messages, things like demanding that Anna share Will with her, or else she'll do something awful. And so Anna...
Of course. Of course. Of course. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. There's no saying like that about men. And this loser, man. Unfortunately, I have a very good idea about where this has gone to. A very good idea. The pictures gave it away hardcore. This poor woman. Poor Anna. Michelle, she can... F-O. F-O, Michelle. Foxtrot Oscar. Michelle. Alright. Let's go. Poor Anna.
is thinking that Michelle is going to find a way to sabotage their wedding, but here they were on the beach about to get married with no Michelle in sight. And so at some point, Anna looked along the beach and saw a little bit farther along were the two friends that she and Will had invited to be a part of their wedding. And so Anna ran over to them and she hugged them and began chatting with them. And as she's chatting, she looks up and she sees Will coming down onto the beach and he's on his cell phone. And Anna can't tell what he's saying. He's too far away, but it's obvious there's something wrong. And by the time Will actually got up to the group, he had hung up his phone, but it was very obvious he was really upset. And as soon as he reached the group, he would announce to Anna and their friends that the officiant was not going to be able to make it. And so unfortunately, the wedding was off, at least for now.
Don't tell me Michelle did something to the officiant, because I could easily see that happening. I could easily see that happening, right? If someone gets into that possessive, obsessive mode, come hell or high water, they're going to get to you. And a restraining order is just a piece of paper. Stay strapped or get clapped. Understand you, me. Let's go.
Now, Anna was totally crushed by this, but she could tell Will also was totally crushed by this. And so instead of crying and making Will feel worse, Anna put on a brave face and told Will, "Don't worry about it. We will find another officiant. We'll reschedule this. It will be fine." And so Anna and Will's friends, they said bye and they headed their way. And Anna and Will had a very somber walk along the beach back to their car. But on the drive from the beach back to their apartment, they would stop at a fast food restaurant, McDonald's, and they would get some food. And by the time they had made it back to their apartment, they were laughing about how ridiculous it was that they were eating fast food in their wedding clothes. A couple weeks later, Anna was still in the process of rescheduling their wedding, and she was starting to feel very frustrated with Will. Over the last week or so, Will, instead of helping her with the wedding, was spending much of his time outside of the apartment, pacing around, chain smoking, while talking to someone on the phone. Now, Anna didn't know who he was talking to, but based on how stressed out he seemed, Anna assumed he had to be talking to either Michelle or talking to someone else about Michelle. Regardless, Anna knew this had to, in some way, be connected to Michelle.
Only one of two things it could have been, because he sounds like one of them closet gremlins. That's what he sounds like. He doesn't sound like a real man, right? Maybe he's talking about his job, and he's probably going to lose his job because he's so stressed out about something. And He's probably talking to Michelle. He's probably talking to Michelle. The dude's a loser, so I would not take that off the table at all. Not at all. Right? Bub. But you know what? My money's on it being Michelle. That's what my money is on. Oh, brother. Oh, bro. You know, let's keep going.
However, whenever Anna would approach Will and ask him why he was so stressed and whether or not he was still in contact with Michelle, Will would try to change the subject, or he would just clam up and not talk at all. But finally, on April 16th, so 3 weeks after the couple's first failed wedding attempt, Will would approach Anna and ask her very sheepishly if she would come with him on a walk through the woods, because he had something important he wanted to tell her. Now, Anna knew that Will loved walking in these woods. He still went off and daydreamed after his movie.
No. This is going to be so bad. This is going to be terrible. This is going to be absolutely terrible. Nothing good's going to come of this. But no, woman, get out of there. Get out of there. I don't care how much you love them. Get out of there. No. Damn it. If it was the reverse and it was Michelle, I probably wouldn't care as much. But because it's Anna, right? She's a gem. Like she's a real one. Because it's her, I'm bub. No. Poor woman. No. Something's going to happen. I guarantee you that. The dude's decided something, and it doesn't seem like it's good.
And so she knew that if he's asking her to go out there to talk, that this was going to be a very serious conversation, most likely about Michelle and whatever's going on. And so the couple piled into Will's car and they drove to the parking lot right near the woods. They got out, they hopped on a path, and they began walking into the trees. And for a while, they didn't really talk to each other. They just walked quietly side by side through the woods. But at some point, Will began to slow down and then finally came to a full stop, at which point Anna stopped too, and she turned to face him. And when she did, Will paused for a moment and then with a shaky voice told Anna that he felt like they rushed into their relationship and he wanted to call off the engagement. Anna was so caught off guard and heartbroken by what she was hearing that she couldn't say anything. She just stood there in stunned silence and then finally just turned around and stormed off away from Will deeper into the woods until she was out of Will's sight.
Oh, no. No. Why is old dude... Well, this puts the final nail in his coffin. Or, yeah, this puts the final nail in his metaphorical coffin. Whatever. He's a loser. Absolutely, all the way, 100% through and through, loser. Right? He doesn't deserve any pity, right? Whatsoever. Oh, brother. You want an example of what not to be? It's the dude in this story, Will. Don't be a loser. Don't be a loser. Poor Anna, though. Poor Anna. She sounds like a real one. Why on earth would you pick Michelle over Anna? I don't get it. Except for the fact he's a loser, that's it.
The next day, when Will woke up, the first thing he did was pick up his phone and text Anna. But Anna didn't write back. And so as Will is laying in bed, he couldn't help but feel this overwhelming sense of regret about the decision he had made the day before. he wanted Anna back. So, over the course of the next several hours, Will would send Anna a series of increasingly more desperate-sounding text messages, pleading with her to just talk to him, please. But she didn't respond to any of his messages. And so Will decided that the only way he could get Anna back would be if he did something big. So he hopped out of his bed, he grabbed his cigarettes, he went outside, and he began pacing and chain smoking, trying to come up with whatever big idea was going to get Anna back. And at some point, an idea came to him. He would do what he had seen heroes do in several of his favorite science fiction and fantasy movies. He would use time travel to go back in time and get Anna back. Feeling totally energized by this idea, Will ran back inside his apartment, he grabbed another pack of cigarettes, a 6-pack of soda, and then he sat down at his computer and he scoured the internet for any information about how to build a time-traveling machine.
In case anybody's wondering why I'm making faces and I'm very expressive with my face, give me a sec. All right, I am back. Let's continue. But yeah, in case anyone's wondering, because somehow you can't understand, what human facial expressions mean. Yeah, I'm absolutely appalled and completely like this dude. Hearing about this dude is putrid. I'll say that much. Let's go.
And for the next 24 to 48 hours, Will stayed at his computer, chain smoking and drinking sodas, drawing all these sketches of different time machine designs that he found on the internet. But at some point, after 24 to 48 hours, Will realized that no matter how good these sketches were, he lacked 1, the resources, and 2, the knowledge and expertise of how to take this sketch and actually make it into a real physical time machine. And so feeling totally frustrated, Will took a sketchbook and threw it, and then lay down on his bed, feeling somewhat defeated. But as he laid there thinking about Anna, he had another epiphany. In other science fiction and fantasy movies, sometimes the heroes didn't need to use time machines to go back in time.
Like I said, man-child. That's all I gotta say. Man-child.
They would use magic. And so suddenly Will decided, oh my goodness, I need to find the right magical spell that will allow me to travel back in time and get Anna. And so once again, he ran back to his computer, continued chain smoking and drinking sodas while scouring the internet looking for the right magical spell that would take him back in time. And several times he communicated with strangers on the internet, telling them that he would sell his soul to them if they could give him the right spell. And then anytime he thought he found the right spell, he would close his eyes and chant the words out loud, and then open his eyes only to realize he was stuck in the present. And so finally, after basically staying awake for 72 hours on this quest to go back in time to get Anna back, Will realized that it was not going to work, and so he gave up. The next morning, on April 19th, so this is 3 days after he broke up with Anna in the woods, Will heard a knock on his front door. And when he opened the door, there were 2 police officers standing there. And when Will asked them, what's going on, they told him that they actually needed his help, and would he mind coming to the station to talk to them. And so Will, he was still totally exhausted from not having slept over the last 3 days, but he of course agreed to go. And when he got to the police station, he was led into a small interview room, and he sat down behind this metal desk in front of the other 2 officers, and he asked them, what can I do for you? And one of the officers eventually asked Will if he had recently eaten at a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant. That's a fast food restaurant also known as KFC. Will was puzzled and almost wanted to laugh because he couldn't understand how this was important. But when he saw that these 2 officers were not making light of this at all, they were very serious, Will said, yeah, a few days ago I did eat at a KFC. Why does that matter? To understand why it mattered, we need to understand the relationship between Will and Michelle. It would turn out Michelle did not just have a crush on Will. Michelle and Will had been having an intense affair right in Michelle's house with her husband since 2015, so a full year before Will met Anna.
Did I basically call it or what? Did I basically call this or what? Or what? And he chose this over that? Loser. Absolute loser. Colero. Está pendejo. Anyway, let's keep going.
Since 2015, so a full year before Will met Anna. Now, Will had wanted Michelle to leave her husband and be with him, and Michelle had told Will that she wanted the same thing, but she couldn't do it right now. And so to show Will that she was serious, that one day she would be with him, she gave him her wedding ring, which was an emerald stone sitting on a white gold band.
No, son, no. So she was trying to have her cake and eat it too. So she was absolutely your average Western woman. She absolutely was. So she's not entirely blameless in this either. Right? She wanted her cake and to eat it too. And she even offered to share him. WTF? Anyway, what do y'all think? Let's go.
It was like a promise ring, that this is my token to you to show you that one day we will be together in public. But as time went on, Michelle didn't really show any signs of trying to leave her husband, and so Will started to wonder if he was just kind of letting his life slip by. Because remember, Will really wanted a wife and kids, and it was starting to look like Michelle was not going to give him either of those things. And so that was why Will went on that dating site and contacted Anna, and then when he learned that Anna wanted a family too, he had asked her to marry him. The ring that Will gave Anna when he proposed to her was the same ring that Michelle had given Will. Her wedding ring, the promise ring. And so when Michelle saw that ring on Anna's finger on a Facebook post that Anna made about having been proposed to by Will, Michelle was enraged. And then, just a few weeks later, when Anna showed up at Michelle's house to move into Will's bedroom with him, she grabbed Will, dragged him to the side of the house, and said, "You need to choose right now between me and Anna." And because Will couldn't come up with an answer, Michelle kicked him and Anna out of the house. However, over the following weeks...
So she was trying to have her cake and eat it too. And he was trying to have his cake and eat it too. So they were both losers. Will and Michelle freaking deserved each other. Quite honestly, they did. And I hope that the husband got away from Michelle and took everything from her. Everything. Left her destitute. That's what I hope he did. Right? She deserves it. And freaking Will deserves to rot. Freaking loser. Young man, don't be a freaking loser. At all costs. Let's go.
Despite Michelle having booted them from her property, she could not let go of her jealousy of Anna and her love for Will. And so she sent Anna all these threatening messages on Facebook.
That ain't love. That ain't love, y'all. I can tell you this now. This is like obsessive possessive. All right? It ain't love. Hell no. Hell no. No way in hell. That ain't love.
Facebook demanding that she share Will with her or else, and she began incessantly calling and texting Will, demanding that he choose her over Anna. And so when Anna saw Will walking around outside chain-smoking cigarettes on the phone, Anna was right in suspecting that that was Michelle that he was talking to. But despite all this pressure, Will just could not make up his mind. He didn't know which woman he wanted to be with more. And so to buy himself some time, he had lied to Anna about hiring an officiant for their wedding on the beach. And then when they arrived on the beach and Will said the officiant had canceled, it was all a ruse. There was never any officiant. He was just trying to buy time for himself. But finally, on April 16th, for whatever reason, Will had decided that he knew which woman he wanted to go with. He wanted to go with Michelle.
First off, he's a turd burglar, right? First off, he's a loser, right? He can't pick up after himself. He can't keep anything clean. He can't stay organized, neat, and orderly. The only thing he bothers to, keep somewhat neat about himself is his beard, and that's freaking it, right? Obese and overweight. That's another big, giant issue right there. That shows a huge lack of self-care, right? And discipline and self-control. And he's indecisive. He's not at all a steadfast mountain of a man. He's not a man whatsoever. He's a man-child. He's an India Charlie, okay? I try not to say the actual word because people tend to use it very stupidly. And then again, those people are stupider than me, which is saying something. But also indecisive. He can't make a decision. And because he can't make a decision, somebody's going to suffer for it. Horrifically and horribly. And not to mention, he's delusional. He can't accept reality. He doesn't accept responsibility or accountability for himself. Need I go on? I shouldn't have to. Let's finish this out.
So he brought Anna out into the woods and he told her the news that he was breaking off the engagement and effectively their relationship was over, at which point Anna turned and stormed off into the woods. And so Will, he watched her disappear, and then he turned around and walked back along the path back toward his car. And when he got there, he opened his trunk and got something out of it, and then he walked back along the trail into the woods where he had seen Anna last. And when he reached that spot, he kind of walked off in the direction that Anna had wandered, and eventually he spotted Anna. She was standing in a clearing, looking up into the sky, seemingly lost in thought. And so Will quietly walked up right.
She was absolutely a real one. Listen. All right, you gems that are out there, there's such a rarity and small percentage of y'all that are Annas, okay? There's such a small percentage. Don't get with losers. Don't get with these losers, okay? Just don't. Avoid them like the plague, okay? If they can't keep shit, neat and tidy, they can't keep their place clean, neat and organized in some way, shape, or fashion, if they are unable to keep up with themselves, right, and they are indecisive, right, and they don't have their stuff together, or they're not working directly towards it and making progress, and they are delusional, living in an illusion within reality because they can't accept responsibility and accountability for themselves, and they refuse reality, which is always horrific. Stay away from them entirely. All right? Y'all who are the real ones, the actual wifeys, the actual wives types, y'all are the most precious, like real life unicorns there are, and there's nowhere near enough of you. Y'all are the actual true minority on the planet. So that being said, stay away from losers. All right, get your family involved, your your father, brother, cousins, everyone involved in vetting somebody, and do it thorough, real thorough. This poor woman, she was a real one. And this happens. I can pretty much every one of us who hasn't even seen the video yet, we can pretty much guess what happens next.
Right behind her, and then he raised the shotgun he had gotten out of his trunk. He placed the barrel against the back of Anna's skull, and before she could even react, say something, turn around, do anything, he pulled the trigger. Afterward, he ran back down the trail to his car, and he gathered up all of Anna's things that happened to be inside of the car, along with some trash on the floor of the car, and then he brought all of that stuff back into the woods and kind of dumped it both on and around Anna's body. The next day, a walker and their dog happened to come across Anna's body, and when the police were called out to the site, they began sifting through all of the trash that was kind of scattered around Anna's body. And inside of a crumpled up KFC bag, the police would find a receipt for the day of the murder. And that receipt belonged to Will. The morning after Will killed Anna, he sent those initial text messages to Anna just to cover his tracks. But as he sent them, he actually did feel an enormous sense of regret about the decision he made. He no longer wanted Michelle, he wanted Anna. And it was at that point that he decided he would do what the heroes in some of his favorite movies did. He would go back in time and undo the murder and get his love back.
If you cannot make direct correlations between yourself and the heroes you so worship, right? Which hero worship by itself is a huge mistake also, actually. It's a huge mistake. It's an unrealistic thing. It's a fantasy. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the real life heroes, most of them are dead. Most of them are. You know how I know? I've served with them. Right? I've had that honor and privilege. And I don't want to be a hero. I never did, never would. Right? Because heroes die in real life. And in his delusion in his head, he wants to be the hero of his own story. You know who that sounds like? Sounds like some certain types of people that think a certain type of way about reality and society and culture and politics, doesn't it? Sounds exactly like them. Bob, this is so... Poor woman. She was a victim of both of them as far as I'm concerned.
But of course, his efforts would fail. And in January of 2020, 3 years after Anna's murder, Will was sentenced to life in prison. As for Michelle, she was never charged with any crime.
Never charged with any crime. How about adultery, huh? Is that not a thing anymore? Adultery? She should go to jail for like a year for that. Or at least, you know, I hope her husband divorced her and then took everything from her. That's what I hope. Although, very unfortunately, that's probably not at all going to happen. She's probably going to be able to take everything from him just because gynocentric courts. Anyway.
So that's going to do it. If you got something out of today's episode and
There we go, folks. There we go. MrBallen. This time traveler is a killer and has receipts. Bob. Oh, man. Talk about a freaking roller coaster ride. What did y'all think? What did y'all think? Y'all let me know in the comments down below. All right. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Click things, look at stuff. Description box, there's going to be stuff in there, including the link to this original video. And then, yeah, I think I'll have to clip this up a lot. I hate editing. Anyway, let me know if y'all think I should edit videos more and clip them more, or just leave them as is and whatever. Y'all tell me. That being said, be good, be safe, make good life for yourselves. Don't be losers, and you foreign gems of ladies, stay away from losers, please. Okay, and I will see y'all in the next one. Badger out.